did they? Oh, God. I'm very sorry to hear that.
A community in shock after learning the news. The missing 34-year-old woman from Carlsbad is dead. Good evening, I'm Susan Lennon. Authorities have found the body of Kathleen Sharbarth. She was discovered in a remote area of San Diego County, and police think she died last night sometime around 8 o'clock. She was last seen alive Wednesday near her home. Her ex-boyfriend, Michael Robles, was arrested on suspicion of her kidnapping and murder. Fox 5's Rick Boone has been talking with people in her neighborhood. And Rick, this seems to have touched the entire community. What's sad news?
Yeah, it's really sad news, Susan, big time. You know, even the missing persons posters are still up here around town here in Carlsbad. Everywhere you go, you really just can't miss it at all, even though many of the neighbors, they know that her body has been found. Still, many of them are still upset on how this woman may have died. Susan, coming up in about 27 minutes or so from now, we're going to tell you how police here in Carlsbad did crack this case and start to finish up this investigation. That side of the story coming up for you in just a few moments. And now back to you.
All right, Rick Boone reporting live for us from Carlsbad. Thank you very much. And stay with Fox 5 for the very latest on this developing story. As Rick said, we're going to have much more a little later, including what neighbors plan to ask their lawmakers so that this never happens again. Hundreds turned out tonight for a candlelight vigil for a teenager whose killer is still free tonight. Family and friends of A.O. Wharton wore T-shirts designed by his mother with the message, "Occupy Peace." 19-year-old Wharton walked out of his Linda Vista house on November 1st and told his mom he'd be right back. His body was found the next morning in Tecolote Canyon. The family had just moved to Linda Vista from Escondido, thinking the area would be safer.
This is a kid who wasn't doing anything. He wasn't affiliated with one gang or another. Whatever was going on, he didn't deserve this. There's someone who would dare to shoot my son in the head around the corner from where we live and walk away. Ayo
was diagnosed with schizophrenia, and his mother believes he would only have left the house to meet someone that he knew. If you have any information, you can call Crime Stoppers. A startling twist in the case of a woman found dead at the Old Spreckles mansion in Coronado. A forensics expert tells the Examiner the footprints at the scene indicate Rebecca Zahau was murdered. Dr. Maurice Godwin says he found the shoe prints in photos of the balcony where Zahau was found hanging. He says the prints are distinctly different from Zahau's. Police have officially ruled her death a suicide, but her family believes someone else took her life. Police are trying to track down dozens of theft victims, all of them members of our military. 55-year-old Andrew Navarro was arrested for stealing hundreds of backpacks, bikes, shoes, computer hard drives, and other property from the San Diego Naval Base. Police say the Navy veteran took it all from lockers in the base gym and then sold it for drugs. Police are trying to find the owners to items that they have now since recovered. From pushing and shoving to pepper spraying, it was all in the name of bargain buys this weekend. So why brave the crowds with no intention of buying anything? Walter McCullough has that story for us tonight. Walter, good evening.
Good evening, Susan. It was a mob scene at a local Walmart, but this one had shoppers abandoning their carts.
For every low-priced product purchased at Walmart, your communities pay the difference.
Your communities pay the difference.
Occupy San Diego protesters staged a flash mob on Murphy Canyon Road. It's the second Walmart store they've stormed to disrupt sales for the discount giant. The demonstrators say the company is partly to blame for the country's lack of jobs. And today they're looking to small businesses to brighten the jobs picture. And tonight there's speculation Sprint Nextel may get rid of its popular unlimited data services plan it offers for a flat fee. An industry researcher says that's a lot of data for a company with a shortage of wireless airwaves. Unlimited data is a huge selling point for Sprint, but the company says the talks are in the preliminary stages and customers shouldn't worry. Susan.
Walter, lose your dog, take your clothes off? This woman in La Jolla says she was desperate to find her dog, and the flyers she was posting, well, they just weren't working. Speaking of thank you, the lockout is lifted. After 149 days of no basketball, the NBA commissioner delivered an early Christmas present today.
Oh, dig this. Susan Santa's ditching the milk and cookies and offering up a healthy dish of LeBron and Kobe because the season will start on Christmas Day. Mele Kalikimaka.
16 and counting. The Geezer Bandit strikes again, this time in San Luis Obispo. It happened last night at a Bank of America where the geezer pointed a gun at a teller, grabbing cash. But this time he had to leave the money on the floor. And good evening, everyone. He is the serial bank robber that just can't seem to be caught. But the Geezer Bandit may have slipped, and police are noticing a pattern. Fox 5's Rick Boone joins us now. And Rick, the big question is, how can the FBI even predict the day that he will actually strike?
Well, before I answer that question for you, Susan, I got to tell you where I'm at. I'm here at Santee at the U.S. Bank here in town. This happens to be the first location that the Geezer Bandit hit up not so many years ago. This, as police are now saying for the second time, they know pretty much exactly when they're going to hit, when he's going to hit. Now, they're not fortune tellers or anything like that. They're pretty much counting down the money. They know he's going to hit because he's running out of cash. This is the FBI on the Geezer Bandit Friday on Fox 5 Morning News.
Because I'm really going out on a limb here. I predict he's going to hit this afternoon. How's that? That's my prediction.
Several hours later, a reality check Friday night.
This is your Fox 5 News.
And we begin tonight with developing news. The FBI says the Geezer Bandit has struck again.
The FBI says it wasn't a tip that made them predict the day the bandit would actually strike. They made that guess by predicting when the bandit would run out of money and need more cash to function. He held up this Bank of America in San Luis Obispo with the same old disguise using a gun. But police say he may be getting sloppy in his getaway.
There's quite a bit of money in the parking lot, and it spread out over several different parking stalls. So we're not sure if he got away with any money or not.
Still, he remains on the run, and even though police are learning his movement, no one really knows when this guy could strike again. But of course, he doesn't know during that next robbery, an officer could also be in disguise, standing right behind him. Oh, so true. And also coming up in about 27 minutes or so from now, Susan, we're going to tell you how this guy, this Geezer Bandit, is rising with his popularity like a rock star. I mean, people are loving him big time. We're going to show you some of the faces of those who think that he's the coolest thing ever out there. That coming up in about 27 minutes. We'll see you then.
And Rick, also just important to remind people that he is considered by the FBI to be armed and dangerous.
Mm-hmm. Yes, indeed, and people need to remember this, that this guy is using a gun, or supposedly using a real gun when he's doing these holdups. So this is serious stuff. It's not really something to be like, oh, this is cool. Not
exactly. Real. All right, good. Thank you so much, Rick, reporting live for us tonight. As Rick just mentioned, investigators are learning a specific habit of the geezer. He has robbed 16 banks in California, 11 of them in San Diego. He seems to prefer to strike on Friday afternoons and usually wears a blue hat. The geezer has also robbed Bank of America branches more than any other bank. There is a $20,000 reward for any information leading to his arrest. And the murder of Kathleen Sharbarth rips open old wounds for a former classmate.
Where she would be today, what she would be doing with her life, and what that man took away from her and her family.
Now, Megan Corges went to high school with Sharbarth back in the 1990s, but along with another close friend who was murdered by her boyfriend 12 years ago. Now, Corges says that her friend Tracy Biletnikoff's killer had a prior kidnapping conviction, and like Sharbarth, Tracy was trying to distance herself from a man she once trusted but no longer felt safe with.
And the court system isn't doing enough. A restraining order is not going to make someone stay away from someone if they want to kill them. I mean, it has to be something more. The GPS system, something more.
Biletnikoff's convicted killer is getting a new trial in January, so Corges is following both cases very closely. And coming up in the next half hour, hear from a friend of Sharbarth and her accused killer, Michael Robles, what he observed during the couple's time together. And what a difference a month makes. Last month, Herman Cain was the GOP frontrunner for president, and today he ends his bid for the White House after his campaign was derailed by a growing sex scandal.
Becoming president was plan A. And before you get discouraged, today I want to describe plan B. So as of today, with a lot of prayer and soul searching, I am suspending my presidential campaign.
There was no talk of his 999 plan today. Instead, he focused on the next chapter of his life.
Herman! Herman! Herman!
Herman Cain vowed he wouldn't be a Republican flavor of the month. But now the former frontrunner has quit a race marked by his quick rise and quick fall.
I came here to declare my candidacy for the Republican nomination for President of the United States of America.
Early on, the former Godfather's Pizza CEO drew single digits in the polls. But debates and 3 numbers launched him into the spotlight.
Remember, 999 is jobs, jobs, jobs.
Cain pulled off an upset in Florida's straw poll. By October, national polls showed him at or near the top of the pack. Cain's irreverent style, like this campaign commercial, drew supporters and critics. He stumbled when asked about Libya.
The Libya comment was a pause to gather my thoughts.
He seemed to joke about a fence to stop illegal immigration.
It's going to be electrified. And there's going to be a sign on the other side that said, "It will kill you."
Then 2 women went public with allegations of sexual harassment from the 1990s. One was Sharon Bialik.
Put his hand on my leg, under my skirt, and reached for my genitals.
Cain denied it.
I have never sexually harassed anyone.
A few weeks later, Ginger White said she'd had a long-running affair with Cain.
The accusation that I had a 13-year affair with her, no.
I couldn't imagine anyone coming out and lying about this.
Cain blamed others for attacking his character and said he would stay in the race. It proved a promise he could not keep. And stay with Fox 5 for all the developments in the Herman Cain scandal. Later in the show, hear what other candidates are saying about Cain. It was a beautiful day at the park for some people today, but for others, it was anything but a smooth ride. Take a look at this video. Yep, some rain showered parts of downtown San Diego. So what is up with the weather? Meteorologist Kyle Hunter has all the answers. Kyle?
Hey there, Susan. Good evening, everyone. A little bit of a wind event. More on that in a few minutes, Susan.
Okay, Kyle, thank you very much. In a jaw-dropping interview, former Penn State defensive coordinator Jerry Sandusky reveals that he still has the keys to the Penn State locker room. The man accused of horrific child sex abuse recorded a 4-hour interview with the New York Times. When asked about physical contact with boys from his Second Mile charity, Sandusky gave this answer.
I grew up at a recreation center. There was constant activity. I worked on a playground. I loved active kids. I couldn't stand to have kids sitting around and doing nothing. I wanted them playing ball. I wanted them doing this. I wasn't being anything else other than, so when I worked on the playground, that's what I wanted. That's what I did.
Sandusky insisted that he has never sexually abused a child. But as Susan Candiotti explains, he might have dug himself into an even deeper hole.